So, guys, after yet another defeat, the defeatists and the negative Chelsea fans are coming out in their droves. Guys, I knew this was going to happen anyway. This season I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the match. This season was always going to it's going to catch up with us at one point, and everything from this season, everything has gone against us this season, and this is the season where all the bad management of the past has caught up with us, and people do not look at the bigger picture. Everyone is just laying the blame on the new owners. And the thing is, it's just all reactionary and immediacy, because people were moaning before, when Abramovich was there, they were moaning about Marina Granovskova and the way she carried out transfers, and all of a sudden the slate's wiped clean, and it's nothing to do with the old regime, and it's all to do with the new owners. And let me just look at it. Let's first of all take it back from the beginning. Our transfer windows have been shocking. We've been buying players on a whim just to suit whoever the manager is, without no clear structure, and that's the way it's been going. And a lot of people are going on about the hiring and firing that worked and was successful in the past. Yes, it did work. Why? Because we had players who made it work. We had winners. We had a spine. And we had the likes of your Jogbas, your Terrys, your people like that. So it didn't matter who was coming in, because the spine was already there. Because the constant there, if you look at the common denominator, were people like John Terry and Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba. So people, whoever the manager was coming in, they set the tone in the dressing room. And it's important to have that team spirit, to have that leadership, to have that winning mentality. And when we replace them with kittens, I remember Drogba's tweet that time when we lost to Arsenal. We used to beat up Arsenal every single season. Then when Drogba and the big boys left, we started losing to Arsenal. And what was it? When the cat's away, the mice come out to play. That galvanised them for one match. When Lukaku was here, we beat them. Then we went back to losing, being the whipping boys for Arsenal again and other teams. Why? We've got no leadership. We've got no leadership. We've got no spine. And with no leadership, no spine, that can get you a cup here, a cup there, but it's not going to give you sustainable challenges. It's not going to be sustainable. No longer challenging in the league, and there's only 3 cups to be won, and we're not going to be always in it for the cups. We had, as I said before, we had that situation. Then we had a situation, obviously, with the war in Ukraine and the upheaval of the team. The owner had to go. This was a quick fire sale, guys. This had to be done in quick fire time. So we had to get, otherwise there'll be no Chelsea. There'll be nothing for us to talk about. And all of those who are criticising Boehly, Eghbali, which as I said, I'll come to them in a minute. But these were people who came in and at a time when we needed them most, and they took over from Abramovich. And who else would have been there? Do you think that had we been taken over by Candy or the guys that everyone didn't want? What are they called? The Rickett brothers, the Rickett family. The Rickett family would have been like Manchester United if the Ricketts had taken over from us. The grass always seems to be greener. Why weren't we taken over by this one? The Saudi media group didn't have a lot of money anyway, because they come from Saudi. It doesn't mean that they were rich. Some people said it should have been Jim Ratcliffe. So Jim Ratcliffe came in late with a bid. He wasn't. If he was really interested, he would have come in at the beginning of the process, like he's done now with Manchester United. This guy's putting a bid the day before the end of the. Was he really serious? He wasn't really serious. He was just probably testing the water, getting ready for the Manchester United bid. So all this nonsense about we should have had this one. Todd Boehly and Eghbali were the right people for the job. What they are guilty of is what a lot of our fans are guilty of. If a lot of our fans came in and they were billionaires, and a fan came in to take over the club, they'd have probably done the same thing as what Eghbali and Boehly did. You know, they wanted to run before they can walk. And for all those people who are moaning about them, a lot of you said we need to, we need a wholesale changes in the club. So they did a lot of moving out, shifting of players that a lot of us didn't want in the club. You know, they didn't mess about with the Lukaku situation, sent him off on loan to Inter Milan. They got rid of, they cancelled they cancelled the contract of Ross Barkley because we didn't have any buyers. They said, you know what, we'll just cancel your contract, pay you off for the remaining part of your contract. And they did get rid of a few players that a lot of our fan base wanted to get rid of. We couldn't get rid of everyone in one window. But where they did go wrong was because of such was the enthusiasm. They thought they can buy players without the proper consultation. So they thought they were being a bit clever with the Cucurella situation. Cucurella, they probably thought, okay, he's wanted by Man City, so he must be good. So they put in they overpaid massively for Cucurella, and that set the tone really, because people saw, oh wow, they paid this much for Cucurella, so let's try and just get them for as much money that we can get for any of our players. But a lot of the players they bought were I think in the long term they're going to be good. Look at Fofana, is exceptional. Okay, we paid a lot of money for him, but it's going to be worth the money in the end. This guy's an exceptional player, and he looks like he's going to have leadership qualities. And that's the thing that we want in the club. Enzo Fernandez, the quality that he can bring into our team and what he can add to our team. And he looks like he can be a leader once he gets used to the Premier League. They bought the guy Koulibaly, who the club have been wanting for years, and he gives us that experience. Okay, he may not have got used to the pace of the Premier League, but at the time, no one was complaining about the purchase of Koulibaly. And even Cucurella, I wasn't too enamoured about the price we paid, but a lot of people were waxing lyrical. Oh, we've done brilliant. The fact that we've bought Cucurella, what a fantastic signing! And the same people who are calling that a fantastic sign are the same people moaning now about him. You know, I wasn't getting excited, but many people were. You know, and that's the hypocrisy of some of our fan base. Sterling, I know a lot of people wasn't enamoured by him, but he's had a lot of injuries as well. So they've had some hits and misses. They've had a scattergun approach in the transfer market, and but they should have done is that they should have taken their time. They should have done things a bit slower, and they shouldn't have got rid of everybody. They didn't sack Marina Granovskova, by the way. She decided that she wanted to go. Petr Cech, they should have tried probably to persuade them to stay on a bit longer, and I've done a bit more in that from that point of view, so that so it could be the transition can be seamless. Appointing Potter again, that was probably a bad decision. They looked more at the data. They didn't have a director of football in charge when they made that appointment, so it wasn't really a measured appointment. They looked more at the data rather than looking at other aspects. Is he the right profile to take over a club of this magnitude, of this size? So they've admitted to that mistake now, and they've even owned up and saying, oh, you know, we looked at it and things are not going as we expected, but we're going to try our best to get it right. And all those idiots saying about they don't care about the club and everything else. Would you spend £500 million? 500 million pounds, or 600 million pounds they've spent on the club, if they don't care about the club, if they just want a profit? You know, the Glazers didn't spend this much when they first took over Manchester United. They are spent big on this club. Why? Because they want instant success. They want, like fans, they want instant success. But Rome wasn't built in a day, as I said in an earlier video. It should have been a bit slower. But you fan base, as I said, the fans in our club, had they had the same opportunity, they probably would have done the same thing, just bought here, there and everywhere, and got excited about it, that they've taken on a club of this size. But they've now got people in place. They've got directors of football in place now. Okay, getting rid of all the medical staff and everything else. People were moaning about that as well. But the injury record was shocking. They've looked at our injury records and seen it was shocking. It was shocking from last season, the season before last. We've had injuries. We've had players coming back too early to play, and things like that. That's why they thought, okay, we're going to revamp the medical staff, and people are moaning about that. They're not going to feel the effects of it straight away, but later down the line, maybe people are going to say, oh, that's why they did it. They're not thinking long term. And it was just something to moan at, and our fans just find everything to moan at because we're no longer at the top of the table. We're moaning here, moaning there, but they're not looking at everything. We've had bad luck. We've had a lot of bad luck. Even if you look at this season, if you look at some of the games, okay, some of it has been down to poor coaching and management, but some of it's been. We can't look at the goal yesterday. Look at that. How many goals have teams scored like that against us? Worldies. We've conceded a lot of worldies this season. Some 9 times out of 10 that's going over the top. That's going over the bar, but they're connecting. Some people say down to bad finishing. We've had some bad luck. We've had some poor refereeing decisions go against us this season in vital moments. So everything that can go against us has gone against us this season. And finally, what I might add as well is the fact that this hasn't been talked about a lot. Us and Liverpool are both suffering. Why? Because last season, I think we played 53 games, when Liverpool played 55. Both of us got through to both domestic cup finals, and both of them went the distance. These players have come back with no proper rest because of the World Cup in December, and so it's draining. It's mentally and physically draining for a lot of these players. So it's no coincidence that both Chelsea and Liverpool are having poor seasons. And the likes of your Brightons and people like that who haven't played a lot of games this season, and Brentfords and people like that who didn't play a lot of games last season, they're excelling. Even Man City have had a drop-off in their performances this season. Why are Arsenal playing so well? Because they didn't have European football to consider last season. And that's why they're playing so well. It's not rocket science, guys. It's not rocket science. And next season, with no Europe for Chelsea, that may be a blessing in disguise for us, because any new manager coming in will have the whole week to work on his tactics, similar to what Conte had when he became the manager at Chelsea. We still got quality players in our team, but we just need to work out a good system. We need that right mentality, and most of all, we need to get in the right spine. So get rid of some of these players in the club, because, sorry, I said it was one last point, but I can't keep thinking of other things. If you look at what Mateo Kovacic said, it's telling what he said the other day, where he said, when he was talking about the sacking of Tuchel, I think, he said, oh, they can't get rid of 20-odd players, so they got to get rid of the manager. That's the mentality some of these players have. If they don't like the manager, which a lot of them didn't like Tuchel, go back there. What can we do? They weren't playing for him. They're knowing that he'll get the sack, and that's the mentality. And that's not the mentality that was drilled in by the old regime, by the way, because of the hiring and firing. Okay, we don't want like this manager. Let's not play to our optimum. Get him sacked. Get another manager in. We got to get these players with that sort of mentality out of the club. Bring in some new players with different mentality, and that's what they're trying to do. Get rid of the old, bring in the new. So it's going to be a lot more of the older players moving out, and the players coming in are players who are not used to the culture of the club, the toxic culture, which has been part of this club for ages. So next season, I'm expecting better things. They're taking their time about the next managerial appointment, which I like. And that's what people moan about Lampard coming in. But they're taking their time. They want to get it right this time. They don't want to rush it. They want to get it right, because this season's dead. There's nothing more to play for apart from the Champions League, which is going to be a difficult ask. And so, getting it right on and off the field, getting in players who actually want to play, who haven't been seeped in the culture. There's the culture of the past, and when we'll see things cooking. Trust me on this one. And so that's it, guys. What do you think about it? Comments in the comment section below. Don't forget, as normal, to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you're notified every time I make a new video. So take care. Bye-bye.